Can you increase the size a little bit?
Is that good?
I don't know. What do you guys think? Big enough?
Sure.
I can read it.
I can make it bigger. Okay.
A little bit. Thank you.
Okay, we're starting sprint 3 of Loon. So the sprint will span 3 weeks. The main thing to keep in mind with this sprint is that the end of the sprint is going to be feature free. So make sure all your code is committed and merged by the time we're done with this release. And then we'll get a support branch created, and all new dev work will stay on master. So keep that in mind as you guys are planning this. So we'll go through the various sprints and see what is in plan for this upcoming sprint. Jordan, do you want to get started?
Yeah, so these 2 tasks are just a couple of side projects that I've been sort of working towards. So they're really aimed at sort of verifying all the changes that were done in the atomics upgrade, so verifying the performance and safety of it. They're mostly done and in review, but I just threw them in here because they were in the last sprint and I did them over the weekend. So the rest of my work will be in ISSU.
Okay, thanks, Jordan. GUI, is Steven on, or?
Simon's here. So I'm not sure what Steven's planning for GUI work. I know we've got Vishwa looking at enhancements to the port view, where you can basically filter the results so that the data that's shown is only for active ports. And also the delta mode is so that you can see, the last change since the last poll rather than cumulative values. I know he's already started work on that, so that should be a no-brainer. There's a bug that I want to get fixed, which is parsing of extension data. And then a small task here to augment the preferences service to make it a little bit more usable. So that's all that I've got planned for this sprint for GUI related work.
Okay, thanks, Simon. Network virtualization.
I don't think we have anyone here.
Okay, Jordan can cover the one thing he has.
Yeah, so the virtualization brigade ran into an issue where one of the methods in consistent map wasn't cached, so it was a performance issue. So I'm addressing that. That patch is also actually in. I did it over the weekend as well. So I don't know about all the other stuff.
So it looks like virtualization is continuing their work to implement the virtual gateway. And creating the distributed virtual flow store and device provider. Okay, we'll move on to dynamic config. Safara?
She's not one of the lucky chosen ones.
Okay. Dynamic config RPC dispatcher implementation. Thomas, was there anything else planned for this sprint?
Sorry, I was on mute. Well, I certainly hope so. So this is only Sithara's part, but I think there is also part from Gaurav's team and also from Henry well, first of all, there's some enhancements to the Yang tools. Ongoing work, which should be hopefully finished with the Yang tools, and then fixing bugs for adding support of OpenConfig. I certainly hope would be part of this sprint. Because I know it's ongoing work as well, but I can't really place stories on here for the team. That's for them to do, right?
Okay, let me send something off to Aihua. I don't see anything for deployment. Yi? Is Yi one of the lucky few there?
Yi is also not here.
And then we'll keep Packet Optical open, but the focus of the folks working on there, like Yuta and Mark, are redirected. So Yuta says he'll be focusing on dynamic config, and Mark is focusing on eCord stuff. So we'll keep it open for bugs that may come up. If nothing shows up, we'll shut it down by the end of the sprint. I haven't seen anything from OpenStack integration. And then nothing from Northbound. So you're Luca, and then gRPC. Aaron?
Aaron just went to look for E.
Okay. And then build and package?
So I haven't heard from Vishal what he intends to make specifically into this sprint. I think a lot of the issues that were brought up as in progress from last sprint review are going to filter their way into here as stories. I don't know explicitly what the commitments for the brigade this particular sprint are.
So I just say E, and the reason he's not here is there will be no stories for deployment.
Sorry, Aaron, I didn't catch that.
There will be no stories for deployment this sprint.
Okay, and then gRPC?
Yeah, there's a whole lot of them in here, but most of them are already in the review phase, and it's just sort of the back and forth of getting them patched up and merged. So I think there is only like one service in here that isn't already at the review stage, and so it's just back and forth stuff. The only other new things is I added the buck rule I have to write, this one, and registration service. Other than that, these are stories that have been ongoing. They didn't quite get finished, mostly done, and so this is just sort of a get everything in before the feature freeze sprint.
Okay. Carmelo for P4?
Yes, I'm here. So given the purpose of the sprint, I mean, also our goal here is to finalize support for P4 runtime. I think you need to update the page.
Yeah, there's an app missing.
Yeah. So yes, okay, so regarding me, I basically will be on PTO starting next week. So I'll be mostly working on two stories. The first one is a continuation from the last sprint. Especially I'm trying to find a way to add support for action profiles, which are the equivalent of groups in the P4 world. And also I'll do some testing to see if the packet in-out capability works in the demo P4 programs we're using. Andrea's not here, so I can speak for him. Andrea will first try to investigate support for pushing port description via netcfg, and the reason is that P4 runtime doesn't support getting port description, so we need a way to push them statically. And then it will spend time working on implementing a driver for the Tofino switch. In this case, implement support for 3 different behaviors. Yi, do you want to speak about your stories?
He's not here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So then you will work on continue building the P4 test environment. In this case, adding support, so configuring the servers. We'll work on the demo scripts to run Mininet with the desired topology, to run the old demo application, so ECMP and WCMP, and also work on a new application to use default.p4, which is the base P4 program we're using for prototyping, by including support for ECMP in that program, and also explore and create a new, more advanced ECMP.P4 program. Then we have stories from the other members of the P4 brigade, external to ON.Lab. The first three, so from ONOS 6562 to 6824, these are continuation from the previous sprint and are basically implementation of a driver for, sorry, the first one is the implementation of the P4 runtime packet provider, and then implementation of the flow review programmable behavior for the BMV2 driver, and finally some unit testing for PI classes. And then we have two unassigned stories, which goal is to port the old demo applications to use the new PI APIs. These are unassigned, and we'll probably find someone to work on this during tomorrow P4 brigade meeting. And just about the stories, I mean, completing the stories means that P4 runtime support in ONOS works. So if we are able to complete those two, then we should be done.
Okay, thanks, Camilla. Simon, for Lion?
Yeah, so for localization, I've committed to localizing the topology view. It's a little more complicated than the table views. With regards to the remaining views, I've encouraged or tried to encourage the localization brigade to actually pick up the engineering on this. But it's very quiet in that channel, crickets. So anyway, this is my commitment to get this done for this sprint.
Okay, thanks, Simon. Jordan, ISSU?
Yeah, so for this sprint, basically just finishing up the rest of ISSU. So there are some API changes that need to get in before the feature freeze, and they relate to replicating version information and then implementing the actual upgrade services stores can be upgraded. Yeah, so that's pretty much once those get in before the end of the sprint, ISSU will be done, at least the first phase of it.
Okay. QA, John?
So for QA, we have two big tickets here. First is to create a cluster class for test on. With this cluster class, it will be easier for test down to create and operate on a whole cluster of ONOS Loons. And this one is, we have created a list of sub-tasks here. And both John and Devin will be working on this whole thing. And the second one is to update the documentation on test on wiki page. This is just to track the continuous work of the documentation updates, and we don't have the point number for, and most of the tasks, it also has a list of the subtasks here, and most of the tasks will be assigned to Jeremy, I think. And then we also have another ticket to create a new performance task, which is to measure the control plane failure recovery latency. Okay.
Okay, thank you. So I think we have a few sprints that aren't populated. What I'll do is I'll ping the leads for those, and then for the mentors of those, if you can also work with your brigades to get the stories in. I'll hold off on starting these until tomorrow morning, because I think for some of the brigades, they're in a different geography. So they'll probably need tonight to kind of get this in place. And then just a reminder that end of the sprint is feature free. So make sure that you guys plan accordingly in terms of even the reviews, right? So there's probably going to be a greater amount of reviews to do. Okay, any questions or comments? If not, I think we're good to go. Okay, thanks everyone.
All right.